open to everyone, as this one's public, so hopefully a bit different. I thought I'd pull a card. I hadn't done one for this week. We've got the new moon on the weekend, and I've got a vision board workshop on that day. If you're a member and you've not seen any of the posts, then you've got a couple of things to check out this week, and then we're going to I'll do some housekeeping first, and then we're going to the card reading. So don't forget, you've got the Thanksgiving workshop that you can do that's in the cache on your members list. You've also got 2-part videos, an hour one and a 40-minute one of extract from the pack, as well as limited belief resistance checker video that's there to help you go through and smash some of those limited beliefs to help you create the best board for the workshop. So that said, housekeeping out of the way, I have, as I said the last time I was live, I think, my dragon cards that I wanted to pull a card with. So what do we need to know for this new moon in Sagittarius? We've got this, I know we've got all the Pluto in Aquarius energy going on, and we're Mercury retrograde, so there's a lot of deep diving going on and subconscious and messages. So what do we need to know in this now moment for the highest good of ourself and humanity? Is the question I always normally post. Calling in higher self. In the bottom of the pack, we have, this is one on the front of the actual book by Diane Cooper. Fire Dragon. Burn up the lower energies around you. You are safe and protected. Be determined and inspired, and clear your soul pathways. But there's a lot of clearing going on, really. So this is that fire, your new moon intention, burning your wishes, your burn list, if you are familiar with that practice, with that intention. But as I mentioned in that video before, we were talking about cutting cords and the cords of attachments to our thought forms and our experiences and our way and who we think we are, linked to our stories. So fire, allow that fire dragon, and literally close your eyes now with me and imagine that around you there's little cords of emotional thought forms or emotional attachments or even physical experiences that are no longer serving us. So it might be something that actually happened to us on a physical level that now is kind of, that belief around that, attached to that, is kind of holding us back and not allowing us to transmute energetically and physically, and also of course the energetical physical layers. And just see this kind of image of a dragon just going along and burning the cords, the way I was like associated with the goddess and energy of Kali. I always see like someone tied up in ropes of their own making of the mind, of that which they've kind of, a box we've created, metaphorically speaking, for society, and see it burning away. And the ropes burn, but the person does not. We are so much made of light that that fire on that level cannot touch us. We have our own fire, our own internal flame. So allow Fire Dragon to burn up those lower energies around you. You are safe and protected. Getting out of the fight or flight brain mentality, being determined and inspired to shift, to change, to be better, to be the best, most authentic you, if you like. So clearing that soul pathways. We are, a lot of these soul contracts that people have had over centuries, over lifetimes, whether in this realm or others, are coming to an end. So that's kind of what that's about. It's a chance to hear the message of the soul, the inner being, the real deep soul alchemy. And one from the top, I think. So that's the bottom, the lower. Then we've got Orange Gold Dragon from Arcturus. So I feel like that's what's helping us, that flame, above his head, opens you to knowledge for the new golden age. So carry the energy of the future. Be a guiding light. This is stepping into your future self. This is that new moon energy, you know, new moon intentions, if you follow that kind of practice. Oh, sorry for the noise. It just cut out and wouldn't come back for a while. So there we go. He's balancing. And I'm hearing again from guidance the 3 stars in the north, linked to something that people have been working with. This is the soul alchemy. So golden orange flame, feel it kind of coming down, going through you, going through the body, carrying the energy of the future. This is you allowing yourself to walk through this portal of change, utilizing this time period, the astrology right now, all of the things in your basket, as you say, all of your tools in your toolkit to become the Homo luminescence that we are becoming as we open to the knowledge of this new golden age. We are expanding that Aquarian energy. We're constantly going to be going through these cycles of change that will become the norm, carrying the energy of the future. It is being the guiding light. It is being the light within, expanding that out and showing that light in every areas of your life. And that doesn't have to be in a spiritual context. This can be in the things you do, in the details. God, in the details, I'm hearing. It is also about balancing. There's a sense of we're taking the energy from this galactic star, the Arcturus, the sound quality, the frequency of expression through light and sound waves, and we're allowing it to, if you look at, he's kind of hooking, and then he's got this light here. So when I talk about and I keep going on, banging, I'm sorry I keep going on about this, but it keeps coming in that this is really important for the shifts and the changes that we're all going through on a physical level. These tiny little crystals that are in our brain are going to become more relevant in science, and over the next few years, unfolding science will come up with like the wheres and whys. But what they're showing me is that these crystals gave us the capability to have expanded consciousness, more adapting, so that we can actually see. And when they're lighting up, so certain things restrict that, certain technologies restrict that, and so others that have had that restriction put on them from certain things that we do. It's a bit like in the 50s, smoking was considered healthy. My mum, for example, was in a motorbike accident in the late 50s, and the ambulance driver gave her for her first cigarette. It was considered something to calm your nerves. Now science tells us subsequently that actually not only does it not calm your nerves, it heightens your it does the exact opposite, but it can kill, and it has the warning on the packets nowadays, so they like to cover themselves. Again, these other things that people smoke with, all these chemicals, they don't know the long-term effects of those chemicals, and they're starting to realise more and more. So there are everyday things that we use that we don't. What's another thing that's from the past that they used to put in houses? Asbestos, for example. And I mean, they even had on toys lead. So there are things that we are not necessarily aware of that we've been using within our technologies that are quite everyday that limit this. But there are some people that are in awareness of this. Their guidance has told them, steer clear of that, steer clear of that, steer clear of that. And they're already expanding these crystallines. So as it becomes more apparent what restricts this connection with these crystalline structures, or they're part of our chemistry. It's the mixture of the biological, and this is very much in tune with the Aquarian of the organic and the inorganic. And I'm not referring to computers, but I think that expanding connection with that, as they evolve it, will come across the understanding of us on a deeper, profound level of the physical, and how the mind works on a really deep level than we've ever known before. But that is connected, why I'm mentioning it, to how we connect and how they used to do this in the last golden era with light and sound waves. And the light and sound waves are the frequency that give us our perception of how we see reality and how we create reality. So this is really, really important for this time over the next 20, 60 years ahead. And I'm talking long term of how that would start to evolve and be the norm. But also, as it starts here, it's already happening for more than for many people. They just don't understand how they're connected. So the other bit will come later, and then they're like, oh yeah, that's why that worked, or that's why that person was speaking this funny language, and that funny language made me feel this certain way, or why I was having images of this goddess looking person. And that's so it's kind of, it will, all the pieces of the puzzle will come into play. But the golden orange dragon, if you just take it as a visualization practice to see them working, and actually the book by, what's his name? Medical Medium, Brain Saver book, he talks about how people are affected by heavy metals, which is why he recommends the heavy metal detox movie. But he, in the book, if you've read it before, you can see he talks about the fire of how it burns hot these certain metals that have built up in the brain. So when I'm referring to these tiny little crystals in reference to this knowledge and how we're carrying this energy of the future as kind of a guiding light, it's kind of knowing what's happening on a physical level to the human. And it won't happen to everyone all at once. It's not going to be like people talk about raptures and all kinds of other stuff. It's already happening. It's already happened, should I say. It's just now we're kind of allowing, and the light, the more it works on this, it works like a fire. It's a fire within the brain, and how that that connection of our more capacity to understand consciousness in a way that has never ever perhaps been experienced. Hello. Yes, synchronicities. Well, in this book, he talks about the fire of it, how it burns hotter, how there's this build up of it. And what I've spoken about, what I personally call the goblet effect, was happening. My guidance was saying this is what's happening when these qualities of light, which everyone talks about, the what do we call it, the sun and the solar flares, and how we're physically being up leveled to become the new Homo lupinescens. So over the next 60 to 600 years, we will become that new human that we already are. But this is how it's physically happening, and science will come up with whatever it's called. But I call it personally, of what my guidance is saying, it's the linking of this part of the hippocampus, the brain, and the crystalline structures that are already there. They're like, there's this goblet. This is why I call it the goblet effect. It's a Roman goblet, and it has these fine particles of silver and gold in it. And this is the silver and light, like the masculine and feminine, why I think it's a perfect analogy of our brain hemispheres in the way that we see things in right and left brain, and why when we do things in Qigong, we work with what we call the bilateral awareness of the brain. But it's working with this bridge. So this isn't a physical rainbow bridge, it's a color of frequency rainbow bridge. It's a bridge within the brain, but also a metaphorical bridge of bridging realities of understanding with higher states of consciousness. So this goblet, it has fine particles, and when you shine light through it, it changes the color from green to red. This was what the little Roman beautiful goblet picture, I think I did a post, it's on my Patreon. I don't know if it's public. I don't know if I did. I'll have to look. It might be on my Instagram as well. But what I was saying is that that's what's happening to us. That's what my guidance said when they were talking about this goblet and how the light changed. It was very beautiful, ornate Roman goblet and unique. That's us. That's what's happening to our brain, to these little crystals. As the light, or the radiation, if you like, all of this stuff, as it hits, it changes the capacity for the chemistry of the brain and how it can see and its perception. So when we talk about it in terms of spiritual light, it's our higher awareness and seeing from higher perspective and access to these different realms and different states, which they'll have more and more evidence over time. But advice for today, and as for the cards, that went down a whole different tangent, is the fire burns up the lower energies around you, burning up stuff that's not needed or showing up where it is there. That's one of the things that I referenced that we're not aware of, that we're doing, that's affecting us, to stop that from happening. So hence why other people are going down different paths or being guided to do different things to change that. That will happen naturally from different sources and from different ways. So burning up lower energies around you, you are safe and protected. This is meant to happen. Things are meant to come to the surface. So be determined and inspired for these shifts, but inspired for these changes as we step into this. The clear, your soul, your pathway is like lighting up, literally lighting up, like wiring and firing of the brains, electrons and neurons, wiring, firing. And the orange and gold dragon, the Octurius, is opening the knowledge to the new golden age. That's where this knowledge is coming from. It's coming in through the top of the head, through the nervous system, going down through and into the endocrine system and the physical system. It's happening very, very, very physically as well. So carrying the energy of the future, being a guiding light, allowing us to open up, to be more aware, to see from higher perspective, and to be more in unity consciousness. Yes, but it's the organic and the inorganic in a sense, because we start to understand through the inorganic why and how it's happening on the organic, because it will happen on both levels. It'll go beyond that. It's like the right and the brain, the left and right brain thinking are merging, and you're seeing and allowing both at the same simultaneously. And that's my son. So that's my cue to finish. So have a beautiful day, and I'll pop this up so you'll be able to see it from the beginning if you wish. But love and blessings, and thank you for your time. Have a beautiful weekend ahead. Thank you.